On the day I turned 24, two of my oldest childhood friends orchestrated a surprise for me. However, it wasn't a party or a gift. Instead, they locked me inside a private viewing booth at a theater so I could witness them confessing their feelings to another man. To win this new guy over, they spent the entire time trashing my reputation, calling me shameless and accusing me of being a wannabe gold digger. They told him that I was only clinging to their friendship because I was an orphan looking for a free ride and lifelong care, describing me as a burden they could no longer stand to carry. According to them, their affections were now reserved solely for him, and my very presence made them sick. I sat there, utterly shattered, staring at the text messages that were being projected onto the screen floating in front of me. The sheer absurdity of the situation eventually overtook the pain. Just thinking about how Liam, that's me, was supposed to be freaking out right now actually made me want to laugh. One text read, "What if we make him beg us not to leave him?" Another replied, "Will he? I'd love to see them fight over us." It hit me then that these texts projected on the screen were their private group chat logs. It turned out that we were nothing more than toys to them. But looking at the new guy, I wondered if I was the only puppet here, or if he was just the newest addition to their collection. Realizing the depth of their manipulation, I felt dumbfounded. So all of this was deliberate? I peered through the small glass window of the booth. I could see expensive gifts piled up on the seats in front of Noah. Every single item was a luxury brand. It was my birthday, and early that morning, Chloe had told me they had a huge surprise prepared, and that I needed to dress nicely for the evening. But after I had put in the effort to dress up, the result was being locked in this dark booth to watch them pour their hearts out to Noah. As I was lost in my thoughts, I heard my name mentioned. Noah began to speak, sounding hesitant and confused. "Why are you confessing to me? Aren't you two into Liam?" Chloe immediately dropped her carefree, bubbly act and replied with a serious tone. "He is just an orphan clinging to us for love. He thinks that just because of our history, we're obligated to take care of him for life. But frankly, we despise him." Jessica chimed in, her voice cold. "Right now, the only person we like is you. Liam? He's just a stray dog living in my house." It felt as if the temperature in the booth dropped 50 degrees, a freezing pit closing around me. My hand instinctively reached for the doorknob to leave, but the texts popping up on the screen held me in place. Why isn't Liam reacting? Did he faint from crying? "You didn't lock the door, did you?" "No way, I was careful." "Should I go check?" "No, just bring him out." As the texts faded from the screen, Chloe put her phone away and walked over to the booth. Bang. The anticipation on her face, I felt the flood of emotions inside me rise up and then suddenly spread out, disappearing like foam on the ocean. She stopped dead in her tracks when our eyes met, clearly surprised by my calmness. "Liam, you?" she asked, pressing her lips together. Her face showed genuine confusion at my lack of a mental breakdown. "How are you feeling?" I met her gaze and spoke with a level, calm voice. "Thanks for the surprise you both prepared." Chloe fell silent, nervously running a hand through her hair, just as Jessica called out from behind her. "Chloe, why is it taking so long? Is Liam throwing a fit?" She pulled Noah over toward us. She looked at me with the same surprise that Chloe had shown, but Jessica was always quicker-minded. She pulled Noah closer to her and said coldly, "We pitied you as an orphan, treating you like a brother. But now we have someone we actually like. I hope you won't cling to us." Their eyes were filled with expectation, waiting for me to beg. I took a deep breath. Memories of my parents' promises before the car crash came back to me. They said people would take care of me, protect me. At that time, Jessica and Chloe's eyes had been full of sincere affection. Now they were pulling me into this meticulously planned, cruel game. I steadied my breath and looked them straight in the eye. All right, I won't cling. They seemed stunned by my calmness, the confidence fading from their expressions. Chloe looked bewildered. Don't you have anything else to say? What exactly do you want me to say? I asked. Chloe was momentarily speechless, her face turning sour. Jessica, keeping her face cold, stepped forward. Since you're so understanding, then return the bracelet we gave you. I instinctively touched the black jade bracelet on my left wrist. The coolness of the stone reminded me of when I first came to live with the Hawthorns, stepping cautiously without a sense of belonging. Seeing my struggle, to adapt, Jessica and Chloe had gone out of their way to get me a blessed bracelet from a temple. Jessica gave it to me, saying it represented their love, and that we'd always be family. Carefully, I had cherished it for 16 years, rarely taking it off for fear of breaking it. I wore it today specifically for my birthday. Now, she wanted it back. It dawned on me then that the girls who promised lifelong protection had truly vanished. Impatience getting the best of Chloe, she moved to snatch it from my wrist. Her grip was fierce, and it hurt. Reflexively, I pulled my arm back. Angry, she shoved me aside. I lost my balance, tumbling down the steps and hitting the floor hard. I felt blood soon oozing from a cut on my forehead. Noah, startled, moved to help me, but Jessica held him back. Her foot came down, crushing my left hand where the bracelet lay against the floor. The jade shattered. You love it so much? Keep the pieces, she said coldly, turning to leave with Noah. Chloe followed her, glancing back disdainfully to say, orphan trash. Lying there on the theater floor, I forced a smile, tears finally falling one by one. After recovering enough to move, I carefully gathered the broken pieces of jade, called a cab, and went to the hospital. Once I was bandaged up, I returned home. As I approached the front door of the Hawthorn estate, more text messages floated into my view via the projection system they had seemingly left active or synced. Chloe asked Jessica, Liam seemed pretty hurt just now. Did we go too far? Jessica replied, if we didn't push him, how else could we see how he reacts when cornered? I gave a bitter smile at their logic. As I pushed the door open, I locked eyes with Noah. He was holding a dish he had just prepared, and called out hesitantly, Liam. Just then, Jessica and Chloe came downstairs. Neither gave me a glance, but they spoke sweetly to Noah. Thanks, Noah, for making us this feast. Your cooking must be delicious. Noah blushed and smiled shyly, then turned to me. Liam, wash your hands and come eat. I glanced at the table, which was full of seafood. I politely declined. Thanks, but I'm not hungry. You guys go ahead. Jessica's face dropped immediately. What, after 16 years of the Hawthorns taking care of you, you can't even join us for dinner? Chloe was more direct, snapping at me. Liam, don't be ungrateful. I looked at the huge plate of seafood in front of me. Tears welled up in my eyes again. Will eating this erase the debt of your past kindness? I thought. Chloe frowned and slammed her hand on the table. A meal to repay 16 years? Liam, you've got some nerve. Jessica pulled her back, and then turned to me, speaking quietly but firmly. Fine. As long as you don't ruin Noah's mood today, the slate is clean for all our past support. I nodded, sat down silently, and started eating the seafood bit by bit. Pretty soon, I felt my skin burning and itching. Breathing became difficult. I was severely allergic, something they knew but didn't care about in that moment. Noticing I wasn't doing well, Noah started crying and anxiously told Jessica and Chloe, "Get Liam to the hospital. I don't want a death on my conscience." I tried to smile reassuringly at him, but the next second everything went black, and I passed out. When I came to, I was in a hospital room, the faint smell of antiseptic surrounding me. As soon as I opened my eyes, the dreaded thoughts and projections resurfaced in my mind, replaying the logic behind their cruelty. Why provoke Liam when Noah is too gentle to even try? Jessica had reasoned. I investigated Noah. I was curious how he would change when exposed to high society living. Liam was always well-behaved and pampered by us. Would he go crazy when he felt his place was threatened? Sudden heartache struck me. So their sudden change was just an experiment to see if I'd go off the rails upon losing my stable life. I guess I never truly understood them. Lost in thought, I didn't notice Jessica and Chloe walking in until they were standing above me by the bed. "You really are weak," Jessica said. "Noah surpasses you in every way." I didn't argue. Chloe tossed a set of keys onto my bedsheets. "Noah will stay with us. Move out of your room and into the guest room, or the other place we found for you." I clenched my fists under the covers, emotions overwhelming me. When I had first moved out of the Hawthorns' old house, they had hired a designer to create my dream room. I remembered them saying that it was my forever home and my refuge. I believed them until now. They had shattered my faith. "Okay, I'll move out," I said, my voice rough and scratchy like an old phonograph. Jessica met my gaze, her eyes as icy and deep as a frozen lake. "Are you sure?" I nodded. Annoyed by my lack of resistance, Jessica dragged Chloe out of the room, slamming the door behind them. The glass in the door pane shattered with the deafening sound, and tears fell from my eyes again. I saw those projected thoughts again. Chloe is getting agitated. Our plan isn't working. Liam hasn't even reacted enough to cause drama. Jessica remained coolly detached in the chat. "We'll up the stakes. No way are we letting this plan fall through after finally finding entertainment." My heart raced. I waited for their next move, but the thoughts vanished. For days I was on edge, but nothing happened until after my discharge. A call from work came, urgency in the colleague's tone. "Liam, come to the office immediately. Jessica gave your perfume formula to some guy named Noah." I froze. So that was their big move. At the office, Jessica and Chloe sat at the head of the conference table with Noah sitting awkwardly beside them. I was pale. "Why?" "You know that formula is the only thing my mom left me. I spent so long perfecting it." Jessica cut me off, her voice eerily calm. "Liam, you've been pampered by us your whole life. As an orphan, we've never let you suffer like Noah has." Chloe's voice dripped with sarcasm. "Without our support, you wouldn't have developed the formula. We invested so much money. Of course, we control the formula's fate." She shoved a transfer contract toward me. "Sign it." I started trembling. "And if I don't?" "That's my life's work," I said, my voice shaking. "Every detail was painstakingly refined after thousands of trials. How can you just take it from me?" Jessica's eyes suddenly turned cold. She tapped her fingers on the table, making it clear I had no choice but to comply. With that signal, the conference room door swung open. 2 security guards came in quickly and grabbed my arms. "Hold him down and make him sign," Jessica ordered. I struggled wildly, but it was no use against 2 large men. They pinned me to the table, and in the chaos, a pen's point cut my face, a warm line of blood trickling down immediately. "You can forget it! I'll never sign!" I yelled, biting my lip until tears finally flowed. Chloe sneered and shoved the pen into my hand. "Stop fighting. Just sign already." I gripped the pen tightly, my nails digging into my palm. Over my dead body. Jessica sighed and signaled to the guards again. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my right hand as they twisted it. If you won't behave, we'll ruin your hand, and that will end your research. Enough! Noah suddenly shouted. Jessica, Chloe, please stop putting Liam through this. I don't need the formula. His voice was shaking, showing how much courage it took to speak those words against them. Jessica turned to him, her expression softening instantly. She gently wiped the tears from his face. Don't cry, Noah. Chloe and I will give you a home and protect you so no one bullies you again. Noah went pale, biting his lip, speechless. I clenched my teeth against the pain and looked at them. Are you really going to do this to me for Noah's sake? Hearing this, Jessica and Chloe's eyes filled with anticipation and a hidden thrill. Liam, Jessica sighed, we don't want to be harsh with you, but Noah needs our care more. Yeah, Noah's situation breaks my heart, Chloe chimed in, making me go silent. After a while, I turned to Noah, my eyes gradually reddening. Seeing this, Jessica and Chloe's anticipation and excitement grew, thinking I was about to snap at him. Instead, I let out a small laugh and pointed to the tiny camera clipped to my shirt. Want to fight back with me? I asked Noah. Jessica's eyes widened when she noticed the camera. Chloe's anger flared. Liam, you're broadcasting this? Freed from the guards who had stepped back in confusion, I pulled out my phone, showing the live stream page. What, you want to hit me? Go ahead. See if the viewers won't make you the news headlines today or tomorrow. The number of people in the live stream quickly climbed, and comments constantly scrolled, insulting Jessica and Chloe. They look so scary, like evil rich girls. Their attitude is gross, trying to make two guys fight over them. Chloe lost it, grabbing my phone and smashing it to the floor, the screen shattering. Liam, why are you live streaming? Don't you understand that today's stream could ruin Jessica and me? She was fuming, kicking the table hard enough to make a loud noise. Noah jumped in front of me, startled. I froze for a moment. He turned back to me, pale-faced but smiling. Liam, I'm with you against them. Amused and touched, I felt a bit of relief. He never had a good family. He never experienced sincere, unconditional love. Now he was just a guy fighting to change his life. Even so, with all the reluctance, he never dared to fight back against them, only went along with their whims to avoid trouble. Until now. I thought it'd take time to persuade him. I didn't expect him to stand in front of me so soon. Jessica and Chloe weren't worthy of him. With this thought, I pulled him to my side, turning cold eyes to the two angry women. Why so mad? I stared at them. Is it because we didn't hate each other and get into a bloody conflict like you planned? Chloe's face tensed as she looked at me, unsure. Jessica was calmer, just watching us. I didn't care about their scrutiny. With a slight smirk, I told them, worrying about your nasty plans isn't what you should be upset about now. I turned to Jessica. Think about how to save your company. Then to Chloe, you should consider how to keep your heir status. And with that, I left with Noah. By the time my wound was bandaged, the whole incident was trending. Both companies' reputations nosedived. Countless people criticized and boycotted them. Shareholders demanded a swift response to the situation. When chaos ensued, I leaked their chat records online. I had easily found Chloe's encrypted files on her computer containing secrets. It wasn't their first time playing this game. Long ago, they targeted ordinary but talented and good-looking guys, making them lose themselves under intentional seduction, desperate for their love. They recorded confessions and heartbreak, keeping them as trophies in encrypted files. With no one else to target, They set their sights on me. Tough luck. I wasn't going to fall apart at their feet. I'd kick them into a nightmare. In a downtown rooftop garden restaurant, Noah was a bit drunk, cradling a bottle and looking at the night skyline. Softly, he asked, "Liam, what's our next move?" He seemed lost. Their families are so much better off than ours. Can we really win? I guided the online narrative via my laptop, reassuringly patting him. The winners will be us. Besides, since I said I'd fight back, how could I have only one plan? And how could I just start preparing now? Noah's eyes widened at that. "What do you mean, Liam?" He raised his voice a little. "Did you see this coming?" I didn't deny it. From a long time ago, I knew very well about Jessica's possessiveness over me, Miss Forto. Chloe, she does like me, but she doesn't dare to compete with Jessica, because her family has a lot of business relying on the Hawthorns, so she just follows Jessica's lead. Jessica allows Chloe to openly like me only because she's confident about herself and enjoys feeling superior to those around her. "When did you start planning your own escape route?" Noah asked, staring at me curiously. "From when?" "Probably around college. I started working and starting my own business. Most of my time was spent on studying and working. Jessica wasn't happy about it. She wanted me to focus solely on her. But 10 years of hard study was tough. Without family, I had no backup plan. I couldn't afford any mistakes. Even if Jessica was angry with me, I didn't compromise." I took a sip of my drink. Until my studio went bankrupt due to cutthroat competition. Facing thousands of broken perfume bottles, Jessica comforted me. She said, "Don't worry, stop playing around. After graduation, just settle down and be my husband." It was then that I first saw the hidden excitement in her eyes. She seemed very pleased with my failure. At that moment, I realized her plan for me was like a caged bird. From then on, I continued, I stopped sharing my real thoughts with her and stopped telling her about my future plans. I became careful. Most of the time I acted as she expected, being obedient and relying on her, playing the little boyfriend to satisfy her strong ego. From time to time, I helped her in her business. Even if she was unwilling, she had to admit there's no other Liam that would satisfy her as much. It's not me who can't live without her. It's her who can't live without me. "Liam, did you ever have feelings for her?" Noah asked quietly. I fell silent. The answer was clearly no. When she went out of her way to get me a bracelet from the temple for comfort and belonging? Or when she fought with those who mocked me for being an orphan, insisting they apologize even if she was hurt? Or when she renovated a room for me, telling me it would be my home, my safe haven forever? Back then, I truly and passionately loved her. I looked down at the table. But somewhere along the line, she started looking down on me, treating me as a mere plaything. Just like she said to Chloe in chats, she thought I was like a dandelion. So resilient, finding a way out even without family, even in tough times. She wanted so much to break my wings, to see me solely depend on her, going crazy for her love. Even through the screen, I could feel her excitement. She said, "Chloe, let's cage him up like a little bird and play with him." "Liam, what do you want?" Noah asked again. I paused and raised my glass. What I want is simple. To have their families changed for my use. Jessica's father passed away years ago. Her mother is used to being a wealthy lady and only knows how to enjoy life. Jessica herself is arrogant and domineering. 3 years ago, with rapid information, technology development, leading firms began facing attacks, including the long unchanged Hawthorn Group. The Hawthorn Group managed to last till today, thanks to my formulas. But now Jessica is riddled with scandals. No one will bet on a company whose CEO is embroiled in public scandals. The Hawthorn Group's collapse is only a matter of time. As for Chloe's company, it's merely an appendage. Not much effort needed from me. Noah laughed and clinked glasses with me. Then let's toast to getting what we want. I smiled. Absolutely. Seeing Jessica again, she looked exhausted, with deep-set eyes and worn makeup. She looked entirely disheartened. Liam, are you done being mad? She forced a smile. If so, come home with me. Clearly, she'd been through a tough time. No surprise. The day after I drank with Noah, I reclaimed my formulas through lawsuits. Without them, they couldn't develop new products. Originally agreed partnerships were all terminated. The Hawthorne Group started, facing troubles. The empire began to crumble from within, starting with finance. Jessica practiced favoritism, and though her appointees were efficient, they loved skimping on little things. Once the finance department blew up, the Hawthorne Group's issues kept piling on. Its reputation in the industry plummeted, and many directors strategically withdrew. Just like I predicted, Jessica wasn't capable enough to save the day. With that in mind, I gave her a mocking smile. Go back and suffer with you? You're dreaming. Jessica's dark eyes flickered with hesitation. Liam, don't talk to me like that, she said. I know I made mistakes. I don't expect immediate forgiveness, but at least give me a chance to make it up. I stayed silent for a long time, saying nothing. She snapped, Liam, I was wrong, but you weren't hurt, right? Besides, don't forget my family took care of you for 16 years. Jessica shouted at me, her voice hoarse and terrifying like a dying beast. I calmly looked at her. I never forgot those 16 years, and I'm always grateful. But you also shouldn't forget that after graduation, most of the Hawthorne Group's orders were secured by me. I looked at her. I wasn't just taking. Jessica's face changed. The grip on my arm suddenly tightened. After a moment of silence, she started to speak, her voice carrying a hint of pleading. Help save the company, Liam. I stared at her with a blank expression. I can't, I said. Jessica's anger flared up, but she held it back. Liam, we've had 16 years together. Can't you stop being so cruel? Cruel. I stopped for a couple of seconds, shook my head with a smile. Jessica, if I had no ability to fight back, and became just a caged bird dependent on you, have you thought about where that would leave me? She looked at me, puzzled. What do you mean? I met her eyes, speaking each word coldly and clearly. If I really turned into a bird with no independent thought, entirely reliant on you, my end would just be you kicking me aside when you're bored of me. By then, after being caged for too long, I would already be incapable of working. I'd end up like a madman desperately begging for your love. Jessica looked at me, her lips trembling uncontrollably. I wouldn't do that to you. Liam, I love you so much, and you know that, don't you? You don't even believe what you're saying right now, do you? I couldn't help but laugh coldly. If you loved me, you wouldn't keep it to yourself. You wouldn't have allowed Chloe to get close to me, and you wouldn't have had any intention to hurt me. I pulled my hand away from hers, speaking firmly. Your love is cheap and disgusting. I don't want it or need it. Jessica went pale, standing there stunned. The dark sky suddenly began to rain, the drops bending her spine. After a moment of silence, Jessica raised a hand to cover her eyes. Liam, I was wrong. I truly regret it. Her voice was hoarse and frightening. Too bad. Crocodile tears only make people laugh, I said. I said nothing else, just turned around and headed home. Noah was waiting for me there. He had been sitting on the window ledge, wrapped in a little blanket, looking out. When he heard the door open, he ran over to me. His face was all scrunched up, worried as he urged me. Liam, Jessica is just playing the victim. Don't fall for it or go soft." Amused, I tapped his forehead lightly. "I won't fall for it or go soft." I handed him a bank card. "You've always wanted to study design. I've contacted a top school abroad for you. Pack your things, go study, and when you're finished, come work with me at the company." His smile froze at his lips. After a while, his eyes started to water. "Why are you being so good to me?" "Because we're friends, and I see a future in you. I want to invest in you and fight alongside you." Once I finished speaking, he burst into tears, crashing into me with gratitude. "Thank you, Liam. Meeting you is the best thing that's ever happened to me. I promise I won't let you down." I chuckled, patting his back gently. "Good luck. I'll be waiting for you to come back." The day Noah left, it was also a rainy day. Returning from the airport, I saw Jessica again. She stood like a statue outside my building. As soon as she saw me, she tried to smile. "I've tried, Liam," she said. I looked at her, confused. Wiping tears from her face, she continued. "I tried not to contact you, but it was too painful. I couldn't do it." As she spoke, she began to choke up, her voice filled with obvious pain. "Liam, I really love you. I acted that way before because you're so outstanding. Whether it's in school or at work, you can balance everything effortlessly. More and more people started liking you, and I felt insecure. But you wouldn't make a single sacrifice for me, not even when I promised to marry you right after graduation and make you my rightful husband, ensuring you want for nothing." The rain fell, harder, blending with her voice, giving everything an unexplainable sadness. She sobbed aloud. "No matter whether I begged or got angry, you wouldn't compromise for me. I was so afraid of losing you, I ended up wanting to destroy you so you'd have to depend on me." She gave a bitter smile, with an expression of deepest sorrow. "Liam, can't you give me another chance?" I sighed, ignoring the hope in her eyes, and asked, calm and cold, "Would you give a chance to someone you don't love?" Her eyes dimmed instantly. "No matter how much I try to make up for it, you'll never forgive me, right?" I didn't hesitate at all. "Yeah, I really don't have any feelings for you anymore." As soon as I said that, I turned and walked away. I hadn't taken 2 steps before I heard her voice behind me crying, saying she can't give up on me. I didn't think much of it. I had no idea she'd stand outside the whole night. No matter how hard it rained, she didn't move an inch. I watched her quietly from upstairs. I waited a minute, then another, until half an hour passed, and I felt nothing. I knew I had truly moved on, so I drew the curtains and went to bed. The next morning, when I left the house, I found Jessica curled up at my door, her face unusually flushed. She kept mumbling my name. I felt a bit annoyed. After hesitating for a moment, I called an ambulance to take her to the hospital. Then I called Chloe, asking her to go to the hospital and stay with Jessica. Just as I hung up, Jessica woke up. She looked at me with a faint smile. "Liam, you still care about me, right?" she asked with a bitter smile and a hint of stubbornness. "If you don't love me anymore, why save me? Without you, I'd rather die." The machines in the ambulance beeped rhythmically. The breeze after the rain was sharp and fresh. I pulled my coat tighter and replied sternly, "I saved you only because I didn't want you causing trouble at my doorstep. Also, if you really want to die, don't do it at my door. It's bad luck." When I finished speaking, I could see the pain and regret flooding Jessica's eyes. Her voice was full of evident despair and helplessness. "Liam, can't you give me another chance?" I looked at her indifferently and said, "Why do you think I'd forgive you after the pain you've caused me? What, does the world revolve around you? Just because you apologize, I should forgive you? The Hawthorne Group got acquired. You lost everything. And you're not as capable as me. What makes you think I'd want anything to do with you? I was always gentle with her before. Now, with my sharp words, she seemed startled, just staring at me blankly. Stop bothering me. My dislike for you has reached the point where even if you died in front of me, I'd walk past you without hesitation. Jessica's face went pale. The hope in her eyes vanished like a doused flame. After a moment, she forced a smile, tears spilling over. I'll disappear. I won't bother you anymore. Liam, I hope you find happiness. As I was about to leave the hospital, a low and hoarse voice called from behind. I turned around and saw Chloe standing there, looking at me. She wasn't doing well either. Her hair was a mess, and she looked incredibly worn out. Meeting my gaze, her eyes flickered for a few seconds before she managed a weak smile. Are you satisfied now? I didn't respond, just stood there quietly looking at her. She seemed much thinner, her collarbones protruding. Since I was a child, my family always told me to maintain a good relationship with Jessica and not to anger her. So I hid all my emotions, following her like a dog. Even though I was the one who first fell for you, I didn't dare to speak up. Even when she suggested ruining you, I could only agree through gritted teeth. Liam, I'm sorry. Chloe's voice began to tremble. I couldn't protect you, nor could I live my truth. The cold wind was somewhat mournful. I said nothing. At this point, we seemed to have nothing left to say. I turned to leave without a word. But Chloe called out to me. She was shaking slightly, her eyes red. Liam, I hope you find happiness. Don't forget me, okay? After a brief silence, I spoke softly. From now on, you and Jessica are just strangers to me, with no room for reconciliation. I just hope you both stay out of my sight. From now on, seeing you really ruins my mood. Hearing my words, Chloe seemed completely defeated. She squatted down, hugging her head tightly, her hair tangled in her fingers as she sobbed uncontrollably. Without hesitation, I left the hospital. The sharp wind howled, stinging my face. After a while, I sighed, murmuring to myself, I will be happy. After all, everything I wanted, I now have. And that's enough.